Hey guys, Mr. Tweet here. So this week we're starting economics, and we're going to begin with that definition that I shared with you in the slides. That economics is the study of the choices we make in response to incentives created by unlimited wants and limited resources. And over the next few days, we're going to be breaking that definition down into its component parts. Now, one of the most important parts of that definition is the term incentives. And in fact, if you talk to an economist, oftentimes they'll say this phrase, incentives matter, right? That two-word phrase, which in large part summarizes a lot of what we do in economics, which is when we're trying to explain human behavior and why humans do the things they do, oftentimes that human behavior can be explained if we look at the incentives that were created. So when someone is doing something in economics, oftentimes we're going to assume or we're going to believe that they're doing it because they're responding to some sort of stimulus that's causing them to move in that direction. So when we talk about incentives, sometimes we might talk about an incentive being like a positive or a negative. So a positive incentive is, if you do this, I will give you something, right? So like if you wash the car for me, I'll give you $10, right? Or this last week I wanted my kids to wash the car, so I told two of my kids, right, I'll buy you guys burritos for dinner if you guys wash the car for me on Thursday. And they said, okay, cool, we'll do that, right? So incentives, right? I want something, so I offer to provide something if I get them to do what I want, change their behavior by giving them something that they want. A negative incentive would be like if I was to give them something bad or to take away something good. So that if I was to say, you need to wash the car or you can't hang out with your friends this weekend, or you need to wash the car or I'm going to take away your cell phone, right? So that what I'm saying is if they don't do what I want, then a bad thing is going to happen. That would be like a negative incentive. Now, incentives can be natural or man-made. So for instance, like a natural incentive, right? There's, as far as I know, in the rule, in the student book of rules for the school, there's no rule that you can't jump off the top of the gym. Right now, why haven't they made that rule? Why haven't they said you can't jump off the top of the gym? Because if a student was to do that, they get hurt really bad, right? Because there's already a natural incentive not to do that. That if you were to jump off the top of the gym, you would get hurt really bad, and that's a natural consequence of your action. But it's still an incentive that you have a disincentive, or you have an incentive not to jump off the gym because there'd be a natural negative consequence that would come from that. And then a man-made consequence would be one where, if we say, if you wear clothes to school that are promoting drug use, then we're going to make you go to the office and we're going to make you put on this like loner shirt that's like green and ugly and it's terrible, right? That's a man-made incentive. Don't, wear clothes to school that are advocating for drug use, or else we're going to make you wear a shirt that's kind of ugly and stands out. That's a man-made consequence. And oftentimes, most of the choices that we make, they involve man-made and natural consequences, both tied in there, right? What happens if you don't do your schoolwork? Well, there's going to be man-made consequences. You're going to get zeros on the assignments and it's going to hurt your grade. But then there's also natural consequences that you're not going to learn the material and you may need it at some point. So oftentimes, choices, whether I, do my work or not, it's going to have natural and man-made consequences in there. So that's incentives. Huge important part of economics, and I have some video clips that you guys are going to watch where you're going to be looking for some examples of this. All right, so see you in a few minutes.